interesting because I'm genuinely curious to see how I manage the sleep schedule. I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to go to sleep. I'm not sure how I want to do this on Friday night, but on Saturday, I'm going to wake up normal time, have like a pretty hard session in the gym in the morning. And then from there, let me lower this just a little bit. From there, I'm going to come back, stream for a little bit, and try to go to sleep from like 5 o'clock until like 9:30, 10. And then I've got tickets to go see Lost Kings at Marquee, a pretty nice nightclub here in Manhattan. So I'm going to go there from 11 until 2:15. And then me and Jeffrey, Jeffrey's going with me. He's going to grab a taxi with me. We're going to go down to OS, get there by like 2:30, 2:45. And as of right now, we're slated to have probably over 100 people at this watch party.
Dang.
I was talking to the manager of the venue who I've been working with. He asked me if I wanted to do like catering and stuff like that. I can't afford catering for this, and I'm not going to buy food for it to go in 2 seconds. Like, that doesn't make sense for me to do, in my opinion. So, not going to do catering, but he said he's been getting calls left and right this week about whether they're going to be showing it or not, and just trying to get more information. So, yeah, it's going to be, this weekend's going to be a lot.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of work.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
It does.
All the meanwhile, like I will make this clear to like people as I watch the finals, but like I actually have to pay full attention to the series. I'm not going to be talking to people all that much during it. Between games, sure, but like again, I'm casting a ballot for MVP. So like I legitimately am going to be watching every minute of these games, and I take that very seriously. So yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That'll be pretty rough on you. I feel like that'll be super busy. Trying to watch all these games, trying to manage slash kind of host the event, and then doing your partying. I had to Google Lost Kings because I was like, they have some song I've listened to a lot, and I was like, I don't remember what it was. And it's Me, Myself, and Adderall.
Yeah. They're not like the most popular group, but like the thing is, those are the ones that like I really enjoy seeing at clubs because it's not overly packed when you go. And Marquee is a fairly small venue, but it's small but like very significant, I guess, in the New York nightclub scene. But like, if you get the wrong artist, like Zed's gonna be there in a few weeks, you're not gonna be able to move, and it's not enjoyable. But it's like, I just want to go for 3 hours, listen to really good music, and I'm going to try and hold up my phone saying, will Faker win Worlds? And like try and get them to react to it and post that as a TikTok if at all possible. We'll see. I don't know. We will see.
Yeah.
What have you been up to,
though? Really just I don't know, just I'm playing Destiny 2 right now.
Destiny 2?
Yep.
Why Destiny 2 of all games?
I don't know, I finally have my computer back, and it's like, my computer's pretty sturdy. It's not like the best ever, but it's pretty good, so I can run any game I want, and I was like, might as well play a game that looks pretty for a little bit.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
I've been playing Call of Duty, and that has been so much fun.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Game chat is back.
Everyone needs an FPS, I feel like.
Absolutely.
Whether it's like whatever it is. I just like Destiny 2 because the stories are pretty good, and I don't know, it's fun to grind.
I just play with the Optic guys, and we typically have like a full lobby every time. And first game we get in, apparently like 2 of the guys in our lobby I've talked to, but they've never played Call of Duty with me before. And everybody was warning them. They're like, look, when you play with Dave, just be ready. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, what? It's Dave. What do you mean? We get into the lobby. I hear somebody talking, and I immediately, like, I have Z bound to my voice chat on my keyboard. I
Mhm.
immediately just come in and tell them to shut the fuck up and just, like, start going off just for no
Yo,
reason at all. Like, I'm level 1, had never played the game. Like, obviously, I still know the maps and the guns and everything.
yeah.
But I just started talking shit. And then he says some like comment that he didn't intend to be like this, but he's like something about being small, and I immediately clap back with, "You've been hearing that at home a lot lately, haven't you?" And immediately the lobby goes into fucking chaos, and
Yo,
it goes in the game, and it's like, okay, guys, buckle the fuck up. We're winning this game. It's a hard point first game. I had a negative KD by like, I think I got like 10 kills and 30 deaths. And
dang.
to be clear, skill-based matchmaking was invented for me because when I play on my own, I can go even in games. When I'm playing with the Optic guys, they're way better than me. And the lobbies that we get
Yeah.
into are way better. But I will throw my dead carcass on the point to make sure that we are playing the objective and do not lose. We did not lose a single game all night. It was never close the entire time. And I'm talking shit after every single game. They're coming to me like, "Oh, you're negative." I was like, "I haven't lost a game yet. Good try. You can shit talk me all you want. You can chirp all you want until you gun me enough to actually take a dub. Shut the fuck up and move on."
Fair.
I love it. Call of Duty shit talk is great. Best part of like, oh, I love it so much.
Yeah, I have like no Call of Duty skills, so I just don't play it. And I never played it as a kid, so it's not for me.
He at least got a great point. Maybe that's why I'm so chill and like never FF in League because I get it all out in COD. That whenever
Yeah.
I come into League, I can actually be normal and not give a shit.
I mean, it's like COD. I never really got into COD because like they didn't. I don't know. League having a ranked mode was like just so good to me, and it was so addictive. And I already wasn't that good at Call of Duty, so if you're not good at something, then you gotta like be given a reason to grind or want to get better. And there wasn't like anything to get better. It could just be a for fun game, and I was like,
I will
I already
say
had for fun games.
yes and no to that. The exception being, have you heard of game battles? Well, it's now going to be closing down. They announced that it's being retired. But
Oh,
basically, you could go in and you could create teams and play against other people in the game in like a competitive
yeah,
setting that had like a ladder and everything else. We sucked at the game. Like back then, even when skill based matchmaking was a thing, I was carrying like a 1.2, 1.3 KD. I wasn't great, but we did game battles and our team would go like 4-20. But it was so much goddamn fun. It was rank play before rank play even
mhm,
existed actually it was rank play before League of Legends as a game even existed. It was
mhm.
incredible. Like that, had I been able to introduce you to that, you might have got into Call of Duty earlier.
Yeah. I just like that League was so streamlined.
Yeah.
Like that just kind of made it great. And now, like now, it's quite the opposite. Valorant is getting everything that's good, and League is becoming the left in the dust, like not so streamlined game, and it kind of has me chuckling because it's like, man, this game that was such a big deal, and it was a big deal because League had everything you could want. It had a 3v3 mode at the time, a 5v5 and all that. And now it is kind of the same thing, if not less modes than what it was when it first came out.
Well, I
Unless you
mean,
count TFT,
if you count
which
TFT and then you count
I
Arena,
don't.
which is now a
Yeah,
permanent mode.
true. Now Arena technically counts, but you're still down unless you. I guess if you count TFT, which I don't because it's
No,
an
I would
entirely
not.
different game, and you're down Dominion and the 3v3 Twisted Tree Line.
So you're down 2. You gain Arena, and then assuming a rotating game mode comes in addition to Arena potentially,
Yeah,
then you got
you'd be
something.
back at 4, I guess.
Yeah. By the way, I never gave this a formal intro, but welcome everybody to the 100th episode of the Crossover
Oh,
Podcast. Uh, if you somehow missed the first 100 episodes, which I don't blame you, that's perfectly fine. We talk about anything and everything here.
Yeah.
I have a schedule that I tweeted out of things that we wanted to talk about, and I spent the first 10 minutes of this talking about Call of Duty. So yeah,
Mhm.
if that doesn't show you
I
what
didn't even
happens,
know this was the 100th episode.
somebody doesn't check Twitter.
Unfortunately, I think we blew our 100th episode load on the 99th.
We did.
So
We
got a little late.
we were a little premature.
Yeah. But that would summarize, I would say, our podcast pretty well. If you wanted to us doing the biggest thing we've done on the 99th episode, that's how we do things.
It's so fitting. I wouldn't have it any other way. We are just a
For real.
I don't even know how to explain how this goes. You know what? Let's jump around because I was toxic at the beginning, uh, and I know this will be more of a topic near and dear to your heart because you've had some choice words to say about him early, but now obviously things have kind of gone off the deep end over the last 24 hours.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Phreak is taking a break from social media amid, let's call it what it is, death threats and online harassment from the league community. First,
Yeah.
what's your initial reaction to all of this?
Uh, I mean, it's pretty insane what people are typing. Like, we, I mean, people are typing stuff like they want to beat him, they want to kill him. Like now they've got it down to, uh, well, I mean, the community doing what they do best, typing like gameplay Q his head is like insane, and just kind of standard like people take everything too far in the league community and are going off because while I have had choice words, have never said I want to kill the man. I have said things like, man, I don't really like the way he's doing that one. And I do get like annoyed because I would say like Phreak kind of, I mean, to be honest, he does like he's very what is it called? Trying to think. He's passive aggressive when he says things in those videos if people are pissed off. So I usually jab back just because I'm on here and I'm able to jab back. But I've never once heard Phreak tell the community to die or end their lives, and I don't think that they should be doing it to him.
No,
I think that seems like it's a little far.
a
That could
little.
possibly be, yeah, like off the idea. Like that's not a good thing, but I mean, it's pretty dumb, and I think he should take a break because people are stupid, and hopefully they all go away. And when he comes back, it's okay. It sucks he has to take a break though, just
Yeah.
because of people.
It it sucks how toxic the league community gets because I feel like we shut the door on any sort of communication before it ever fully opens. I get, and we'll get into it in a minute about like eliminating all the extreme stuff and just boiling it down to the actual issue. We'll get into that in a second, but it's amazing to me how league players really just can't. Not all, obviously. I don't want to overgeneralize because I got myself into trouble with that earlier this week of assuming the minority onto a majority. But when the vocal minority goes so far and goes to be so extreme with it, you just shut everything down. And yes, you do ruin it for everybody else. And I'm not saying that everybody in the league community is toxic. The league community in general might be a little bit more toxic than most, but it's like you got to find a way to have healthier reactions and healthier conversations to all this shit. Yep. You have to, because otherwise you're going to continue to alienate people. You're going to get less communication. The Phreak videos, while, you know, they might have their own issues, that was an hour of communication that you would not get otherwise. And if that goes away, you're going to have bigger problems than you would have with arguing it out in a respectful and constructive manner.
Yeah. No, I mean that's facts. Like it's annoying because there's not like I think the issue is there's not a good like what do you call it, representative for the side of people who want things changed. Like and the thing that League people do is they just love like deranged memeing and deep fried memeing almost. And they always end up just going too far with like their jokes and what they say. And then you have the people who are doing the death threats, which I don't like, that's just dumb. Like those are idiots. And it's annoying because it's like there's some things he's done and some things the balance team has done in general because he's not the whole balance team.
Yeah.
He doesn't represent it all. That I just wish could be talked about and maybe given a bit more time, but it's never going to because of what you said and what is happening. Too many people are taking it way too far and they're going way too quick. And there'll be no discourse, which is kind of ironic. There will be no conversation over the conversation in the game.
Yeah.
Like,
I I think what you said kind of hits home pretty hard. There really is no voice, and there's no ability. Like, it's almost. I wish there was somebody like LS or like a Dom that could go on to these videos with him and have a conversation about it. Like, invite Phreak on, and maybe I should reach out and try and have that conversation. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm not like the best messenger or harbinger, but like I feel like maybe that's a point that we could reach out and just like disable chat, disable everything for that stream so that nobody can come in and do anything weird, but we just talk about it. Because I feel like you and I are pretty consistent on the fact that voice chat should be in the game. You're constantly putting band-aids over bullet wounds, trying to solve for that very loud, very toxic vocal minority. But it's like I do put onus on Riot for not properly taking care of that, for allowing that to fester for an extended period of time, for not being as harsh with their punishments that they need to be, to just be willing to say, okay, they're not willing to cut off some of their arm that's funding it because those toxic people, whether we like it or not, they're paying for a lot in this game. Those are those same cash cows that are buying the Cosmic Jin skins, or the whatever the $200 chroma is. Like, there is a lot of overlap there. And I feel like Riot being scared to pull the trigger on the marginal, the stuff that's not fully extreme, but like just barely almost there. But you give them a warning or you ban them, but they come back on a different account or they try and do like, you got to take care of those because the sooner you do, then we can actually have better communication and then possibly lead to open voice chat, everything else. I agree with people for the most part that I think the ping changes are bad. I don't like a lot of the things that we're doing to circumvent what should be a pretty black and white issue.
nope.
It's like we're tiptoeing on eggshells, but we all ultimately know why. It's because you don't want to cut off that arm.
Yeah, I mean the big thing about people not wanting voice chat is them saying like, "Oh, it's super toxic," and people are just going to be more toxic. But at this point, it's in like every game that I can think of. I don't know if there is a game like League that doesn't have voice chat that is based around the fundamental ideas, competition and competitiveness.
Yeah.
And it's not like a MOBA, or my bad, an MMO is what I meant to say. Like an MMO, I guess it would be okay. Like if World of Warcraft didn't have voice chat, whatever, you're probably going to be in a guild or in a clan before you ever get to a point where you're doing arenas a ton in an MMO.
Yeah.
And you probably have a group of people that you can get to get on voice chat. But in League, that's not the case. You're put into a random lobby. You're limited to only knowing at least one other person in the lobby, and you can't verbally communicate with any of them. You can only communicate through typing and pinging, which was like before all the threat stuff came out and him getting having to take a break. My biggest problem was I was listening to his last video and there because I want to listen to him and I want to learn why he's doing what he's doing or why they're all doing what they're doing. And he like did that Karthus R part, you know, where he was like, it's pretty easy. You just type Karthus R now. And I was like, yeah, that's easy, whatever, but what do you mean that's easy? That's really easier than saying, hey, Karthus, can you R? or that's easier than explaining to your team why you want to go in a certain situation.
Yeah.
Like the amount of communication that's lost through typing in tone and ping, especially, like you could ping something and nobody knows what you means. Honestly, now they just assume you are telling them to kill themselves at this point. Like
Yeah.
that's what they're assuming. So it's insane to me that they just keep taking away forms of communication when it just keeps getting worse. The more comms you take away, the worse it's been getting.
Yeah.
And more people run it down. I feel like now more than ever. Maybe I'm wrong and I've just been playing the game forever, but I feel like I get held hostage a lot more often now.
I definitely feel like communication has gotten more toxic as time has went on. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of games. I think the majority of my games that I'm in, at least, are fairly like decent. Like nobody really talks or says anything. Uh,
Yeah.
but when it goes bad, it is definitely worse than it was before. Like that's at least my
Yeah.
general observation. Now, granted, I just mute and move on. Like that. Like for me, that's standard in the same way that like Call of Duty. Like if somebody comes in and shit talks in the way that I am, yeah, I'd probably just like if I'm not in the mood and I just want to like put on music and chill, I'm muting the lobby second I get in and problem solved. And you don't have to worry about it. And like same thing. Like I feel like because you don't have voice chat, because you don't have a better method of communication, there it does create that feeling of I can't mute pings and I can't do this because the limited bit of communication that I'm getting, I can't afford to give that up in a game where it's arguably even more critical. But I don't know. I really think it ultimately comes down to Riot's got to do a better job of policing this. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I know better than them, because thinking through this critically, it's not like the people on their like side and the people that were talking in the toxicity video at the beginning of the year. It's not like they don't study this shit every day. They have more information than we do. So like
Mm-hmm.
we're talking from an outside, arguably uninformed opinion, and I understand that. The problem is you got to give us more information than you're giving, because I can't sit here and have a conversation or form a basis of opinion that's separate than what I have now, because the only information I have to go off of is my personal experience. You're not giving us data or test environments or anything else to prove that it would be different or that it would be this like really bad state that you're saying it's going to. Because
Mm-hmm.
playing in Call of Duty, like I'm sitting here wondering like, why can't I? Like,
Yeah. And Call of Duty is probably like I get Call of Duty voice chat is pretty bad. Like it's not really a great place to be in. But League is like to the point where it's like I don't know, it's so far along. I'm not really getting like why we're still treating it this way. Now, like Nick has good points that like game state is bad right around now. Like things are kind of tough right about now. And no, we haven't talked about 100 Thieves yet. They but the game is just super like I don't know, it's depressing. Like almost to be in. Nobody talks because everyone's afraid of getting chat restricted. Like you can't really like even do like minimal trash talking in chat anymore without possibly getting reported. And so you're better off saying nothing at all. And then that just leads to people who get mad like running it down
yeah.
because they can't type at you anymore, which is for the better. They would be chat restricted anyways. But then they just start running it down because they know if they type at all, they're just going to keep getting perma banned. So they're better off inting you because that's what makes it hurt the most.
But
And
the problem with that is that they don't get permabanned at the
true.
rate that they should. If that
I
actually
mean, yeah,
had like if there was actually like the way I would say it is people talk shit online because they're not scared of repercussions. Oh, I
yeah,
send somebody a death threat on Reddit or Twitter, and it's like nobody's gonna come after them legally as of yet. And it's like you're not worried about it. Somebody says that shit to my face in person, they would never, because they're gonna get hit. Like that's how it works. Like you say that type of stuff, you say something like that to somebody at a bar, and your shit's getting rocked. Like that's just how it works. Versus online, you have that I do not want to butcher this word so bad, but I'm going to.
And anonymity.
Anonymity. I'm sorry.
Now you have me lost.
And
Anonymously.
yeah,
Let's just go that
the
way.
the anonymous person online. uh, it's like when there's no when you do not fear repercussions of acting stupid, you will continue. Like the actions will just continue to get worse. So there has to be more repercussion for people being toxic, for people running it down. You have to be way stronger. That is the only way to make it work.
Yeah, and I don't even know if they're gonna do that. Like, I wish that's the route they would go, is add voice chat and then just get tougher on people. But the issue is like, I don't know. Some of the things they ban are like wild, which I get. Like we're going into a new age of humanity, so everyone's trying to figure out how to even talk now. Like you can't say the R word and all these things, and
I mean, to be
that's gonna
fair,
be tough.
that's a military and you problem because it is not that tough
That's what I was
otherwise.
gonna say. It's like, but I was gonna say that I was like the amount of people I know that are like military slash police and play League is actually like low key pretty high.
Really?
So like in my barracks, a ton of people played League, a
Wow.
ton, and it was like the number one reason people would get hosed. Like they would fall behind in classes and stuff. So like when a lot of your player base goes to jobs that are like that, they're going to talk in that way. And I know they're trying to change humanity to be less condescending and rude, but that's just what high level pressure does in general. Like, I don't know. I know that is going to piss people off, but a lot of people like say things that kind of hurt. Like, they're going to say the B word, they're going to say the A word.
Wait, B is in bitch?
Yeah, like, even that is pretty.
Oh,
People hate that now. It's rude.
wait, what B word are you talking about?
That yeah, bitch. Bitch
Oh,
is
no.
it's
I'm
pretty
sorry.
frowned upon.
No, bullshit. That's not frowned upon.
No, hey, you say that, but
I yell
it's
out
really
son of a
what people
bitch. Like,
decide.
that's not.
No,
No, no.
I've been a lot of places where people hate that.
I'm in
So
one of the most liberal places in the world.
yeah,
It's
if you say it, I mean,
if you
what
say it directly to
Kin
a
is saying is what
woman,
I'm saying.
yes, it's
Yeah.
bad. If you say son of a bitch in general, like literally
Yeah, but if you're
everybody I know.
playing League, you know with voice chat somebody's gonna call someone a bitch. They're gonna turn out to be a woman, and it's gonna go south. In League perspective, they're gonna ban them. Or at
I
least voice chat ban
I
them.
don't think, because I think if you're in voice chat and like here's the thing. If you insult somebody and saying you bitch in
Hmm.
League of Legends and then it comes out like, "Oh, you were talking to a woman," the woman comes out like, "You got to say that to me that I'm a girl?" As long as you come out afterwards and say, "I'm going to call somebody a bitch for the sake like for just saying it like as a general term," I don't think they'll ban you for that. Now, if you come out here and like explicitly say, "Yeah, I'm saying that because you are a woman," and like you're directly like insulting somebody because of their gender like that, then yeah, I think it's very like if you have voice comms and you have the logs, that's very easy to tell.
Hmm. Yeah. Like that'll be what it comes down to. And I think that's why they don't want to add it. I mean, Juice for said, uh, what is it? He said that. He said that it happened to him in Valorant. That's funny.
Nice. All I'm saying is
But
if I can ever get a PC that streams Call of Duty without lagging, y'all are gonna see a different side of me. That's it. And that will be the side that like is the basis for like why I want voice chat.
mhm. I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting because everybody has a different tolerance for
Yeah.
what they could handle. And if there's one game that right now is trying to beat out the word tolerance or establish a line, it's League of Legends. that's where they put a lot of uh their energy into. That is what they want to establish, is where the line is. And that seems to be why voice comms aren't in there.
Well, if there's one thing that I just hope they add in, I hope they add in freaking premiere mode, and I'll keep yelling it till I'm blue in the
Yep.
face.
I mean, that would take away all our complaints.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Like, because at that point, I wouldn't have to play ranked anymore because I don't really care about ranked. And I could just play like premiere mode with my friends.
Oh, it would be so healthy for the game.
It would.
It would literally, I honestly think it would change the perception of League of Legends here in North America overnight.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it would. It would help a lot, but
to answer chat, because I always assume that everybody knows this, but it's good. It's a good call from Catman. Premier mode is a mode currently in Valorant where you go on and you form a team of 5 people plus substitutes, and you play a weekly match. That after the course of a full season, your record seeds you into a playoff bracket, and then you play a playoff bracket. It's literally a recreational league built into the game itself. Now, here's the kicker. Premier mode in in Valorant, the top division of Premier qualifies directly into the what we would consider the NACL in North America. That's how you qualify. So you have a direct path to pro that is in the client and in the game. It is similar to ranked fives from 8 years ago, but drastically different. Similar in theory, where yes, you have an element in game that can qualify you for something, but drastically different in terms of it is way more flushed out. It is way more consistent. You are playing against a consistent schedule of people that you can prep for, that you can draft against. Like rank fives, you're going into a game and it's like, okay, you don't know who you're going to get until you load in. With Premier mode, you know the team that you're playing a week in advance. And you can scout them and you can prep for that. And the whole strategy and everything around it is incredible and something that needs to be in League of Legends and something that I'm praying to God is going to be in there.
yeah, I mean, and to the point Nick made of it fighting with LCS and Phoenix Rising, I'm kind of okay with that because once again, it's like the Call of Duty thing, right? You were telling me like back in the day you could do this other thing that would help you do blah blah blah, and that's not how you get a lot of people to play something. Third party apps and stuff, and like making people have to schedule things outside of something is not like easy access, and a lot of people will just not do anything at all. Like I know we all play LCS, and we honestly probably still would. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I still would.
Yeah, but it's like not easy for the average consumer, and League of Legends is supposed to be a large consumer game. They just haven't really put the time into it in a while.
Yeah. And the thing with LCS as well is like you would see the quality of play probably go up. Yes, less people will be playing in it because you're literally putting that system directly into the game itself. But that's a good thing. One, you'd rather it be in the game itself. And while that comes at the cost of systems like low budget LCS, ultimately that's still free. And you'll still have a community that plays in that. In the same way that like you have people that played casual game battles back when, but then you also had the pros that played casual game battles as well as the bigger tournaments. And like you slowly start stepping your way up. If you are a lower level, like inherently you should get better to the point where you can qualify for those tournaments, and that's going through like the whole progression of individual player skill over time that I don't think it's worth like an extended period of conversation. But I don't think the caster talent pipelines and anything would diminish because you will have the ability to cast top level premier games, and you'll be able to do things like that I quite frankly, there will always be amateur systems because even though that is baked into the game, one match a week is not going to be what top level talent has to do to get to break through. Therefore, there's always going to be other opportunities. But on top of that, It's not like you need 20 million other secondary systems with 20 million other casters and talent and everything else. Like, if you truly want to be a caster or like talent in that regard, I think you would bust your ass right now putting out content, casting over stuff, putting out TikTok clips, Instagram clips of you casting, offering to do other leagues for free if they would let you. If not, you work on building your personal brand. Like, I those leagues decreasing is not going to be that's not a factor for me. That doesn't matter. You can ultimately do it on your own, even if there are less opportunities. Social media has made it possible for anybody to do the Captain Flowers route from like 2017.
I mean, yeah. And I'm not like, I don't know. I mean, it's not, the scene isn't that big a deal to me. So I'm not going to be as like, what is it called? Like, I'm not as married to it.
You don't
But
care as much, yeah.
yeah, so I think Premiere would be better because one, like, I know it's an investment, you got to pick one, and I think what Premiere brings is just more accessibility.
Yeah.
And accessibility is pretty important. Like setting that time frame for everybody in the game and getting people excited for a certain day is pretty good, and then having people kind of be able to just go in the client and do that would be better than I think doing it the way that is currently done, which is you having to find a league on your own and then doing all of that, which I understand. Like, there's going to be people who have problems with it and stuff, and I'm sure it's going to be really popular first time and diminish over time, like Clash has. But it's kind of just how it is. And Premiere mode in itself could grow the game because it helps get more people involved, more people excited. So it's kind of a risk you have to take.
Yeah. And to address the point in chat, I don't think it fixes League. League has other problems to worry about. What it does is it provides a consistent pipeline and accessibility into the game that more people can use that does not currently exist. That provides a better player experience. That regardless of problems that exist elsewhere with solo queue and other aspects, it is needed. And it should happen. But I don't want to spend too much more time on this. I do want to jump over to the media day from Worlds before we start talking about like Worlds finals themselves and then eventually get to LCS, 100 Thieves, and everything else. Did you get to watch any of the clips and videos from Media Day?
Media Day?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't watch Media Day, but I've seen clips, yeah. I've seen enough. I saw the Garen stuff and I watched the NewJeans stuff because I couldn't believe they were answering in English. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
So I started watching it.
I was shocked. And I'm curious to see if Garen has a massive play rate spike after this.
Oh.
I'm genuinely, but like we saw Azir spike up after Faker played him. Will NewJeans have a similar effect? Will we see the same amount of increase and uptick that we saw in Azir versus Garen?
I mean, probably.
I'm gonna guess not, personally.
Yeah, because if Adam didn't get Garen played more, I don't know if
Well,
NewJeans is going to.
Well, NewJeans is a little bit bigger than Adam.
Yeah, but NewJeans' overlap into the game. I'm not sure a ton of people who play ranked League of Legends are a NewJeans fan as well. There's a good amount, more so in Korea.
I was
But
gonna say you won't say that to the shy and carry his face.
yeah, more it's in Korea. But the American solo queuer, I don't think we'll see it, I guess would be the best way to say it. That ripple won't come to us. But if it does happen in Korea, that'd be kind of hilarious if Garen becomes just pick ban and ranked. That would be super funny.
Would it be hilarious if like so Adam comes in and like is stomping people on Darius or on Garen at Worlds. Next year, all of a sudden, every top laner in Korea is pulling out Garen in pro matches. Why? Because everybody's fucking played him in solo queue because of this. And like this has a ripple effect that like Garen becomes this like it's no longer an Adam pocket pick. It's an entire LCK pocket pick where like every player is somehow like specializing in Garen in the same way that like every Korean ADC is good at Ezreal for whatever stupid reason.
I mean, it would be beautiful for the game. Like, I would absolutely love it, but I don't know if it'll happen or not. I mean, it would be great in the sense of like just all these guys having these great Garens and these like more easy to use champs becoming popular in pro play would be funny,
Yeah.
but we'll see. I mean, if this is the year of Riot Moose Hater, I'm not going to be upset. But
Oh man.
I
Uh,
am a Moose Hater fan.
the one other really notable thing that came out, other than like obviously Faker and everybody talked and they gave their whole press spiel, which by the way I love media day personally. One because I'm media and I enjoy days like that where you get access to players and staff and everybody else to talk to them and get to know everything. But on top of that, there's just like it's the same thing with the Super Bowl, where like you have nothing going on for those 2 weeks prior, and it's still hilarious to me to see people bitch about how long this wait of a week is. Is like you guys know nothing relative to like the NFL, which you that 2 week wait is horrible. It sucks, but you're filled with so much activities and so many different things going on from a business end that happen in the meantime. And that's why it's incredibly important to have that week because Riot can build up the activities and swell everything going on outside of the game leading up to that moment, including media day like today, where you're watching players gush over NewJeans in the same way that NFL players gushed over Rihanna during their media day, and it's just like I love every single minute of this week leading up to it. It's so much fun. It builds tension. It builds hype. But they notably talked about the current impact of viewership, as well as the Worlds Unlocked boxes, which, for those that don't know, I have one. Oh, back up there. I tore the back off so that I could have like the background, but like that's the Tibbers, the Timo, and everything else. They're almost entirely sold out, and they are definitely coming back next year. So they're starting to monetize a little bit better, and it sounds like we might actually possibly have something in game next year to better monetize.
That'd be cool. I mean, I expect a lot to happen next year. Next year's going to be a big deal
I
for
expect
League of
2025 to be
Legends.
big, but next year you thought was going to be big?
I mean, just leading into Arcane, right? I thought Arcane was
Oh,
next year.
true. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
But I don't think they do it. Like, I don't think the beginning of the season, like January, where
yeah,
like you make those
that's
big
fair.
changes to the game, I don't think that's going to be as important. What I'm
That
going to
is
be
a good
curious
point.
to see is like, would they be willing to shift the start of the new season in 2025 up to align with the middle of Arcane or like the finale of Arcane?
Hmm. That would be interesting. I mean, I highly doubt they do it because Asia Games pushed us back already.
Well,
So,
Asia Games doesn't happen next year. It's only every 4 years.
yeah, I just mean that would push. It's already a late season, so pushing it up, just in my mind, makes things harder. Like, you're just constantly making players play even longer this year. So it just make this year feel even longer for them. And I feel like they need some break at some point, but it's also League of Legends players. They seem to be playing 24/7. So
If
like I think APA just went to Korea.
he did,
So
and Boosie is there as well.
yep.
If what Jeffrey's saying, if Worlds ends November 2nd or the 9th next year, that's more than enough time to start preseason or start like the next season in
Yeah.
December. Keep pro play still like a January start, but like kick off the actual season and ranked play at the end of November or December.
Hmm.
I think that'd be fair.
Yeah. No, that's pretty fair.
And that way Worlds like officially marks like the end of like that current season and you can immediately because you know as damn well as I do that wait between when Worlds ends to now January is a long one. And doing something massive like just blanketly starting the new season early would be great.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be pretty hype, but I don't know. I'm just wondering like I don't know if they'll do it because it's yeah, it's also going to three splits. That just feels so. I don't know. Three splits in general is gonna feel cramped, so it doesn't
It
matter.
is.
I just don't. I don't know, but people want it. People want their international events. People love it, regardless of how much Korea, China it is.
Yeah.
They eat international events up. So
Well, they also noted, I think Nas specifically called out that they're going to try and change the revenue split structure to better balance between the teams that go to international events and the teams that don't.
hmm,
Because only a very, I mean, they called it out and it's rightfully so. Only a limited amount of teams across the world, not just the LCS and LEC, but also the LCK and the LPL, actually go to international events each year. And you want to keep that
yeah,
prestige, but you want to make sure your bottom end doesn't fall out from underneath you.
yep,
So they're going to try and find a way to better distribute revenue that
yeah,
teams that don't make it to international events, not that they get paid so much more to, like, obviously they're fine all around, but at least give them a little bit more.
yeah. That I mean that makes sense because I mean right now a lot of the smaller leagues are in that. I mean, as much as LCS is an esports winner, like it's happening to everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to figure out how to make a smaller league work. And we've already seen this happen to TCL. They became just another sub league
Yep.
and went to what is it?
The EMEA system.
Yeah, they went to the system, so it's kind of you want to make sure that's not happening all the time, and you want to make sure that like CB lols are still around, and Japan and uh LM. Wow, what do they call LAL? Right?
Yeah.
Is that Latin America's league? Yeah,
Or
they
LLA.
LLA, yeah. You want to make sure they're all around because even though this year they didn't go too far, you still want them building and slowly getting there, especially CB LOL. You'd want to keep supporting them because they're getting so big and that's so important. Like 10 years down the line, I think it'll pay off for them.
I
10 to
agree.
20 years. Which sucks right now and is tough to see because 10 to 20 years will be like what 30 or 40, but at the same time that's how long you're hoping league is around.
Yeah.
Like
You're building so much further for the future than
yeah,
right now.
yeah, and that's because you don't want to become an Overwatch league.
No.
Yeah, you don't want to die. So in order to not die, you have to you're what Andy Miller say last week. He said like you're as good as your weakest
Yeah, you're
link or
as good
whatever.
as your weakest link.
Yeah, and right now in LCS, I think that's why owners are probably pushing Immortals and the Digs and the who's the other one? That's GGS is kind of they they started to turn around and now they're starting to regress a little and I think people are noticing they're probably trying to push out the EGs and that's because you need the bottom of the league to have fans and you need people to want to cheer for them. And we don't have that in LCS.
No.
I'm sure that a bottom team in CB LOL probably isn't the most popular thing in the world. And who even knows who the eighth team is in LLA?
I couldn't
Couldn't
even tell
tell
you
you.
the top.
Yeah,
Wait, who won
top
the
five,
who
probably.
who won the LLA?
I usually just guess R7 because they're who's usually showing
Are
up.
they LL? I didn't know they were that
Yeah,
region. If I'm like, I'm that's not me trying to shit talk. That's just like I do
yeah.
not pay attention to minor regions
And
whatsoever, barring like CB LOL, knowing Loud's coming out.
so, yeah, I think the revenue sharing makes sense.
I also just think you need to, and they touched on it, but like you need to give fans better options to monetize it themselves.
That's true.
Like that's just, you need to have rewards in there for growing a fan base. That's
Mhm.
incredibly important.
Yeah, I mean that's true. Well, I wouldn't say all minor region teams are the level of a tier two LEC team because the TCL lost in EU Masters. I mean that's fair, they lost, but
I mean, I would say they're middle, like your median
I get no,
minor
that is
region
true.
team is
Thinking about it
probably
now,
about the
yeah,
same as the median
that's facts.
tier, like LFL or Spanish league team. I think I'd be willing to
Yeah,
say
thinking
that.
about it now, that does make more sense.
Like your top end's always going to be
CB
your
low
top
on
end.
them. I guess it's just because I was imagining PCL.
Yeah, or PCS.
PCS, yeah, my bad. As a minor region and VCS, those are the two I was like,
But even then, like the VCS is like 3 teams, and then
TCL.
it falls off so
Yeah.
heavily.
Yeah, I was gonna say TCL wasn't the best, wasn't usually the best. It was usually PCS or like VCS upset them. Russia had a year where they went crazy, but I would say like if PCS started to slip up, then I would be
Yeah, but they
like,
haven't. I
yeah,
mean,
dude,
it's PCS and
they haven't.
VCS on
Yeah,
their bullshit, and like they're the 2 best minor
yeah,
regions, bar none, right now. Like it's not even close.
yeah.
Like even CB Lowell is nowhere close.
But that's depending on if you view them as minor regions, which they are, I think.
Yeah,
But
I think Vietnam, you could make a case is start like they were starting to climb
sure,
before COVID. Uh, they are making a comeback now. That it's like I don't know. I feel like if you put GAM in the LCS, they're not great, and like we
hmm
could figure them out very quickly. And I don't know if they would adapt. I don't know. We'd have to see because like the upset loss to Team Liquid, everybody's gonna point to being like, oh,
hmm
they're top four. I Team Liquid imploded heavily. I just think like
for sure.
I think you give us that matchup 9 out of 10 times and we win it.
I kind of like though the comparisons: PCS middle of the pack LEC, VCS middle of the pack LCS.
I mean that's fair because
Yeah,
BDS
it's not a bad way to put it.
BDS was able to take them down in what a 3-2 series
hmm
to qualify. So that's a very fair comparison. And
No,
BDS
I like it. Yeah,
barely made it to Worlds. So I think that's very, very fair to say
yeah,
that they be middle of the pack. Because on any given day, BDS could have made it to Worlds and could not have. Same thing with the PCS teams. Like BDS probably should have lost that series, I agree.
hmm
But I still think that puts like we would say BDS is firmly in the middle of the pack of LEC. And I would say the same for the
yeah.
PCS team.
No, that's facts. And yeah, yeah. So you can't let that fall out, I guess. All circling it back. You
Nope.
gotta keep those minor regions building.
Yep.
Cause like, and the other point is so good thinking about it now, how like most other minor regions are basically tier 2 LEC. Like that's probably facts.
Yeah.
Thinking about it. Like maybe CB LoL could reach higher if they continue on their trajectory, but the fact that all of them are at tier 2 LEC kind of makes me think, yeah, let's hope that getting a little more money in, doing what Riot is thinking and pushing them will continue to maybe we see a turnaround and maybe we see some more growth. I mean, it's just tough for them right now because there's so much being put into the bigger leagues. Like the major regions are all like, even though it's esports winter and they're cutting spending, they're also trying super hard
Yeah.
to keep winning. Like we're probably the worst of the major region. Well, I guess that goes to LEC this year,
Yeah.
but
I was going to say it has to go to LEC.
we're and our like, but looking into next year, our like number one seed should be super solid. Like that Cloud9 roster is kind of crazy.
I
So
I just think we're going to be a level above EU again.
I mean that Cloud9 roster could be
All
like,
right, we'll save Worlds talk for the very very end because
sorry, yeah,
I
my
don't think
bad.
there's much for us to cover in terms of the actual games.
Yeah.
Uh, but let's pivot to LCS now. I I'm not a fan of how the LEC is handling their off season whatsoever. Like barring I like what Vitality or not Vitality. I like what wait, no, is it Vitality? Who's building the super team around Perks? Uh
Yeah, Vitality.
no, or Heretics, isn't it?
Or no, you're right. My bad. Heretics,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's Heretics.
They're building the, don't they
Yeah.
have Wonder too?
Yeah, they got Wonder, Perks,
Wonder
Yankos.
Yankos.
I love that. I think that's like a great like storyline team that like will be fun to watch regardless of whether you think they'll hit a skill ceiling or
Mhm.
not. K Corp, the signing of Yamato and some of the players that they've got, I think is incredibly hyped. But when
Mhm.
I look at their importing and I look at like the top, like even though it's going to be fun to watch, I think it's going to be the same argument that you were able to make for the LCS for over the last 2 to 3 years. it's going to be entertaining, but you're not pushing your skill ceiling up that far. G2 is still going to be by far and away the best team in that region. And it's not even going to be close, I don't think.
I mean, yeah, the way they're doing it is kind of pointing that way. To be fair to K-Core, they were in a tough spot because it's not like they're gonna. It's probably tough to get a good ADC right now for them because they're basically telling all their ADCs like, we have a guy. We have a guy on
Yeah.
our roster. We know we got him, and you are being replaced when this guy is old enough. Like, that's just how we feel, and they're not even hiding it. And so that's got to make it tougher. So they're stuck with upset, which is kind of rough. Unless upset gets better, he could, and I'm just a hater. But the way they're doing it, yeah, the way Heretics is doing it is fun, but do we really think they're gonna push G2? I'm kind of
Yeah.
with you there. Doubt it. Uh, can't think of anybody who really has a roster that I think is gonna push them. Like maybe, I don't know if Fnatic's changes are gonna push them per se,
Yeah.
but they're interesting. I mean, the Heretics roster is gonna be fun, but it's
Heretics roster is going to be
yeah.
fun. I also think like you said, even though like K Corp, they're pretty much like a waiting room with upset for next year. That's a
Yeah,
fun storyline to build. And
fair.
just like no, like that's the thing with K Corp is like imagine a world where they overperform this year and they make it to Worlds when
Yeah.
nobody's expecting them to. Knowing damn well that you have a powerhouse waiting, which is then just going to increase the potential for them even more. If they come out hot and K Corp makes it to Worlds in their first year, even as that fourth seed, oh my god, is it going to be unreal? Because next year the inevitable upgrade comes, and you've been waiting for this year-long storyline for it to happen. They're going to get better. Uh, I'm not the biggest fan of Bo, to be honest, but hey, maybe different environment, he's fine. Who knows? But like, I, it's going to be so
I
entertaining,
think
even if
yeah, I think that's fair.
even if they're going to get stomped by C9. But to be
More
clear,
than
oh god,
no, what were you gonna say? Finish you.
I was gonna say I think both regions again are clear. There's gonna be a clear team at the top by summer. It was NRG this year. I don't think we see a fall off of Cloud9 this upcoming year. I just think it's gonna be G2 and C9 are like just disgustingly good and above everybody
Wait,
else in the league.
you said you. I just realized what you meant. You're not a fan of Bo.
Not really, no.
Fair enough.
Based on what you watched in the LEC
I
last
like
year, I
Bo
don't.
a lot.
You can like him, but I don't like. He's not a guy that I'm looking that can go like that will push Broken Blade to a new level.
Oh, Bo
Yeah.
and Cabochard probably not gonna push. Yeah,
That's my
yeah,
thing. Like when I'm looking at this, I'm
yeah.
looking at this from the perspective of like
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Worlds is in Europe next year. The last time it was
Yeah,
in Europe, all three teams made it out from the LEC. Splice made it out, Fnatic made it out, and G2 made it out. Why? Because you had that push between Rogue, or not Rogue. You had the push between like the top four teams in the LEC at the time that
mhm,
everybody was one-upping each other and like constantly pushing each other. Yes, Fnatic and G2 were a clear tier above everybody else, but they had each other to bounce off of and like constantly like drive each other's skill ceiling up. I don't
that's
think you
fair.
have anybody from Europe right now that can challenge G2 at the moment. And maybe that'll continue as the year goes on, but like if you're G2, you're wasting time to a certain extent trying to get everybody else to catch up. You're teaching them, meanwhile you want to be pushed yourself. It's the disadvantage of being so far above. And
Yeah,
I would say the same for Cloud9 if I'm being honest.
I mean, yeah, because I'm looking at all these rosters. Because I was trying to find one that made me think like, oh, maybe this is why. Like, they'll push them, and I don't. I'm with you there. I'm not
And
really seeing one that I think
no, I just don't think you can be
pushes them.
a single powerhouse team region and expect you to get better. You need the floor to raise.
Yeah, you do.
And like for the
You do.
LCS, we are taking a risk this year to a certain extent, because we're finally going with domestic talent, but like we're going with a newer. You're gonna see a lot of new faces this year, which I think is a good thing potentially because we already
Mhm.
know where our current like floor is in the league, and bringing in new faces has the potential to raise that floor, but it also has the potential to technically lower it. If we can raise the floor, everybody gets better, including the top end. Like, even if Cloud9 is still head and shoulders above everybody else, doesn't matter. The bottom being better pushes our middle teams, which in turn pushes the top teams. It pushes everybody up from the bottom.
Mm.
And I'm praying to God that some of these moves work out.
Well, you have to remember too, this is what EU right now is doing. Well, I guess really to word it better, NA is doing what EU was doing in the past. So EU used to be switching out a lot of people, trying out new faces and seeing who could stick. And right now, NA is doing that. We're trying out all our rookies, getting them in. Granted, because of funding, not really
But
because we want to
hey,
be. But that's
sometimes
good.
sometimes
Yeah.
you need the situation to force you into doing something. It's the same
Hmm.
thing with like I guarantee everybody in chat here has had that exam or test that you know is coming, and you could have gotten an A on it by investing all of your time and resources from the jump. Sure. But you also got an A when it came down to crunch time and you had 12 hours left to go and you needed to cram that shit out. And guess what?
Oh,
You got it done and still got an A. And then it's like, hell yeah, I wasted all that time and still did this. So, same
yep.
thing for LCS. Yes, we pissed away years of money and development that we could have had. But you can't look back on that saying, I wish I would have. You just
Yep.
got to keep moving forward. And we're now in crunch time where the budgets are lower. And yes, new people are coming in. Like Fake God's coming in. SRTT is coming in. Or I'm not sure how you say his name fully. Sniper's coming in. Like you have a lot of younger talent coming in. It's like, okay. They're
Yeah.
better late than never for some of them.
And really, if Kenvi can get a full year in, that or not Kenvi, Tenacity. My bad. They're just so synonymous in my head. But Tenacity getting a full year would be nice. Like, and honestly, Revenge is looking pretty freaking good in Korea right now. So it kind of makes you question. Like, there is a lot of talent in the top lane in A right now, and I like it. I feel good about it. I think it's good, and I'm happy with what I'm seeing. Um,
Can we
and
touch
you are
on
right.
the
You can't look back. What?
Can we touch on the revenge point since you brought it up? Do you think he gets a team?
No.
Why?
Now that I don't know how to say this name, but I think it
30.
looks like Surdy to me. So that's how I'm gonna say it. And I would say he that kind of killed it for me. I don't see anybody else taking him.
On the orc part or on his side?
Oh, like is it his fault or an orc's fault?
Yeah, like do
I
you
guess just circumstance. I think people know his ceiling right now, or at least you know what he has been in the past. And it looked like he was starting to put something together on EG, but uh, unfortunately for him, right now going cheaper is kind of good for people, and going cheaper can also be accomplished, and you can buy time if you're a GM, right? By going younger. Like you buy 30 and you can maybe tell your boss, "Hey, I just needed more time to develop them." But if you go revenge and it fails and you spent like 20k more, which right now is a lot in LCS, uh you can't say that. He's like, "Hey, why'd you spend this much more when we had these options and we still lost?" Because you know you're probably, no offense to him, but you know you're probably going to lose on Dig. So why not take the young gun that you hope you can kind of sell to your boss than take the guy who's going to cost more, possibly? Which he could not cost more,
that
but
well
it's
that
also
that's what my question ultimately comes down to is if revenge is in a situation where basically it's a you need to take 75k and play for immortals or you're not playing. Do you think that is does he bear that responsibility, or where do you think the conversation goes? Because I know the community conversation is going to be, hey, good on him for holding out, not going to Immortals, not doing this. Like, I got a lot of shit for it. I got shit for it from Raz, who called me out on Twitter for saying that he doesn't think that players should accept these offers. I think that's bullshit. That's just me. Like, I want to let you go and then I'll elaborate.
No, I was laughing at the way you said it because it just made me think of Tim Robbins. It's bullshit. But had me chuckling. But if you look like at our rosters right now, I pulled up the Dex article because it's the only one that had it in an Excel format, so my old eyes
Yeah.
could read it.
Yep.
Our top laners right now is Sniper, Fudge, Rich, Surdy, Impact, Licorice, which is Licorice up in the air? I thought he was. Or is he confirmed?
Licorice? No, he's
Yeah.
not confirmed.
Okay, Dokla, Impact, Fake God. So that leaves you Immortals or GGS. And between Immortals and GGS, they have to decide between Licorice, Tenacity, what?
Revenge.
And Revenge. And is that it, basically?
Technically Someday, but I think Someday retires. Personally.
Someday probably, yeah, Someday probably leaves. But if Someday would take a low enough contract, which he might, who knows? Like, honestly, he might. And that would suck for one of them. And they might view, like, Someday as not a bad fit for Immortals. Like, low key, he goes to Immortals. They could just speak Korean. And I hate to say that for Armao, but but they could just speak Korean.
Yeah, because it would be what? Someday, Armao, Mask, Tactical, Ole.
Yeah.
That's not a bad squad.
And yeah, it's not. It's better than what they've been putting out.
Yeah.
And Immortals isn't gonna go back to Revenge, I feel like. I that has happened. Either. And I don't think he'd go back there. So that kind of leaves him with GGS. And I do hate to say this, but Tenacity, I think, is better than all the names we've mentioned and probably deserves a spot. In my mind, if I have to think players who deserve a spot, I would rather see Tenacity than any of the guys we've talked about.
That's a bold statement. I think Licorice gets it after his performance this past
year. Well, Licorice has been good. I just think Tenacity is like ceiling and what I want to see out of him. Like, if we think Tenacity is done, or my bad, if Licorice is done, which that's what I assume people meant. Like, there's nowhere else for him to go if he doesn't stay at GGS.
It's not that. It's that he wouldn't accept the low pay that Golden Guardians is trying to offer.
Oh, then he's not going to accept Immortals' offer.
That's my thing. That's where the crux of this question ultimately comes in, and why like people got pissed at me for it is like, I don't like the idea that as a player, you shouldn't swallow your pride and just play for a team like this and try and make them better and come out leading the pack. I get there's historical precedent that, yes, you go to Immortals and you look bad. Sure. But we're not in that world anymore. There's no academy for you to fall back on. There's nothing here other than your own life savings that you've amassed to give you a backup plan. In addition to that, we're seeing reductions in salary literally everywhere, which likely will affect coaching staff as well. So it's literally going to be on like one coach or maybe two and you 5 players to build it up. That's how you prove yourself. Like, that's the new world we're in, where yes, the top teams can afford positional coaches and coaching staffs. And even then, teams like NRG, who just won the league, are cutting back in some areas in that regards. Like, I don't see why you would ever pass that up. Because if I'm Revenge, and I, like, not saying that he didn't, to be very clear, and I don't want anybody taking me saying this as Revenge is not taking this offer. We don't know if he has one or not. But I'm saying in the isolated situation where Revenge has an offer for 75K to play for Immortals or sit out, if you do not take that, I think you are dumb. Because what are you holding out for?
Yeah.
Who's going to give you a spot above that? Everybody knows the caliber that you are right now. That is you left EG on that level. Regardless of how much you play solo queue, people are going to expect that of you when you come back. Cloud9's not going to pick you up. They're not. Though they will import before they take you. Team Liquid, they now have Impact. Again, they would probably import before they go with Revenge. 100 Thieves has Sniper, so you would assume that spot's going to be locked for a very long period of time. Shopify is trying out Fake God, which you could argue, yeah, maybe Revenge goes in there if Fake God doesn't pull out. But is Shopify like a top tier? Like if Fake God's not working out, they're clearly not a top tier team. What are you holding out for? In my mind, you fucking play. And I'll tease this now. The person I talked to in DM that I will be getting in a video to come on and discuss this is the Call of Duty World League 3-time champion, Clayster, who has the most famous tweet, at least in my, not most famous, obviously Scump like dwarfs him in terms of the tweet itself engagement. Back in the Advanced Warfare days, he got dropped by one of the top teams. And he tweeted out, "Throw me to the wolves and I'll come back leading the pack." He won champs later that year with a squad that nobody thought would win it under his leadership. And he did it 2 more times after that. He's been constantly thrown to the side consistently, but yet he bounces back with newer players and trains them how to level up to that regard. I understand League is a different game. I understand there are different requirements, but as in a world where we go back to it just being bare bones coaches and players, your individual prowess as a fucking player and your ability to lead as a veteran and somebody who's been in the game for a while is important. I think you play. And yes, Jucifer, that is the man from Denial.
Oh, and there's more open spots than I thought, because FlyQuest top is...
Blippo.
Who is it?
Confirmed.
Oh, it's Blippo, you're right. But, so Clayster, I'm Googling, I'm looking at him, and holy cow, 758,000 followers?
Call of Duty scene pops off, brother.
Bro, he's a dog. Like a dog. And that quote goes so hard.
It does.
And that mentality goes hard.
I know, but that's why I want to make a video on it, because I'm so sick of seeing this argument of, oh, sit out because you're not getting the right opportunity. No, fucking force a better opportunity.
It really does. Yeah, and it kind of makes you... I mean, because if you look at our top lane pool, like, I don't think anybody doesn't deserve to be there. The only one you could argue is Rich. And Rich deserves another shot.
Exactly. He performed well enough.
Like, he performed well. And, I mean, I'm looking at it, and it's just like, yeah, Impact, Whippo, Fudge, all make sense to still have. Like, why would C9 get rid of Fudge at this point? Like, they know he's at least going to win you the league.
And here's the kicker. The person that they would have gotten rid of him for was... Than whatever it was from the LPL,
I thought it was Wonder.
No, it was Thanatos or LCK. Sorry, he's apparently a prodigal top laner out of the LCK under I think like Damwon's Damwon Challenger. Like he's probably going to be starting for Damwon this upcoming year. But they were rumored to be in the running to get him, where it's like. If they get him, okay, Fudge then goes to a different team and is still here.
Yeah.
So then, like, what the fuck you gonna do now? Like,
and you get a Fudge who has something to prove, which hopefully he still does right now, because that roster's too good for him to not go off this year.
Yeah.
But it's like even Fudge's floor, let's be clear, is like top 3.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's the problem. Like, there's where do you move in Revenge, to be honest? Because I should probably clarify, like when I was saying I would rather see tenacity over these guys, is I was meaning like money wise. Like if you're one of these teams, you're not gonna pay Licorice a ton or pay
Nope.
Revenge a ton if you know tenacity or like a solo will take a vet min. Like
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if Immortals has known to been cheap, and it looks like they're trying kind of with this roster, like reading it now, other than the tactical pick, which I've said to some people, possibly in the chat, I do not like tactical
I
pick.
know you don't, but you can't deny that he played incredibly well last year.
He played fine. I'm not gonna say incredibly well, but
I mean,
played better. He
look at
played
the
way
roster that
better.
he was playing on.
But yes, he was.
He
He
was
has
playing
turned
that
it
year.
around.
He put it this way: there's no world where tactical should not be
Yeah.
starting on a team.
And if I'm going to say that Rich deserves a chance,
Yes.
then Tactical deserves a chance, for being honest. And
Yes.
Jensen is still a mid laner in this league, so Tactical is really not the biggest sin.
All right.
And
Let's touch on Jensen though.
yeah,
What do you think of that signing when it got announced?
he is at FlyQuest, right? Like
Yeah.
that's confirmed. When I saw it, I was kind of like, bro, I thought this roster had like so much hype, and I was really starting to believe in it. And that just made me go, I guess they need a veteran. I don't know, but do they need a veteran? No, they have two on the top side. I don't know what they signed him for. I really don't know.
Because I think I know why.
You have a green card.
Well, that, but also like
I'll be right back.
first and foremost, they signed him because they didn't get Larson. 100%. Not a doubt in my mind. Um, Jensen has a style that nullifies, which will work in NA. And I've been on the train from the beginning of just because something works in NA and doesn't work internationally doesn't mean that you don't do it. I'm fine with them pulling the trigger on giving Jensen a chance there, given that your top two mids in the LCS right now are Palafox and Jojapyun. And who better to play into that than somebody that can nullify uh like your high tempo mid laners. So there is a potential that Jensen comes in and plays well. But here's the problem that people don't get. FlyQuest could come in and win the split with Jensen. That doesn't mean I'm excited for it. Like that's
Mhm.
that's the thing that I think people need to get through their heads is like Jensen might be a great player and Jensen might end up being exactly what FlyQuest needs. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to be excited to watch him win. It's Jensen. That's it.
I'm not even.
And they're like looking at it now,
I
like
I hate this chat.
there's a world, not a big one, but if FlyQuest last year imploded, there's a chance it could happen this year.
I went to the bathroom while you were speaking and thought in my head I was gonna come back and say, honestly, Jensen, yeah, could win you like the title. Like on this roster,
Yeah.
they could win it all because of what you're saying. He can nullify, and that's really all you would need. And last year he was probably good enough to still nullify with the top guys. But reading this, he could have done what Beard did back in the day. Crap is just, what are we doing here?
No, he's not at that level.
What are we doing? Do you know the difference in trophies and the difference in grind that they did? Bjergsen came over here and just brought winning. Just started winning. You know what Jensen did when he came over here? Couldn't get over the hump and then went to a team that had two trophies already, joined a team. He basically Kevin Duranted, which I said at the time, if you can recall,
Yep.
for the viewers. I said this at the time, and what did our group chat say? They said, "No, Paul, you're an idiot. He's not Kevin Durant of League of Legends. He he's just playing free agency." And I said, "Yeah, played free agency to the top team in the league. Top team in the league." And what happened? He won a couple rings, and then what did he do after that?
Nothing.
All right. I'm just making sure people remember that. I'm just making sure they remember that. And they
I
still
think
win. The roster still wins.
that is an absurdly good comparison.
What?
Jensen to Kevin Durant.
Well, it is the Kevin Durant. He wasn't winning before he joined a super team and didn't win after. But he still puts up, don't get me wrong, just like KD, he puts up great numbers. He looks fun. He makes you happy. But remember, he was also always chasing one guy in LCS. He was always chasing one guy. And that one guy wasn't JoJo. And that one guy wasn't any other mid back in the day. Was it Phoenix? I don't think so. It was definitely Bjerg. And he chased him. He got two. He got
Shi
two on him, which that's
Shifting it
good.
to modern standards, though,
Sorry.
there's no way you can sit here and tell me that you would ever put Jensen above Palafox and Jojo Pune in the LCS right now.
No.
Exactly.
No. But I mean Fly, my bad. I almost said Dig. But Fly didn't really have an option.
No, they tried to
Like
import and it didn't work. Clearly.
he's he's third. Jensen's third best in the league right now.
For now, yeah. I think that's fair. I think mid lane is our weakest pool, especially with APA not
Yeah.
in there.
I guess
I
looking at it,
wish APA had in our fucking chance,
would
but
you rather have Jensen or Insanity on that FlyQuest roster?
ooh. Ooh. Uh oh.
I think
Believe
there's a
it or not,
world.
Jensen. I think I would
Yeah, I
rather
was
have.
gonna say there's a world where Jensen probably fits that roster better.
Yeah,
But I think I
you
almost
need
think
somebody that
though
can slot in and be low resource. Because you have a
you
lot
do.
of
You
attention
do.
elsewhere, which I think is fair.
You
It's
do.
just like I don't think like you could tell the imports that they were trying to bring in would have been better low resource.
It's just does Jensen's play style like does Jensen's play style? Oh yeah, Jensen did win in 2022, didn't he?
He
Won
did,
a
but
third.
he was like
My bad.
the clear
But
weak link on that team.
but freaking what is it, Jensen? I'm just worried that I think if Masu and Busio have any growing pains, Jensen just amplifies those.
Agreed. It then goes
Unlike
uninspired entirely to help get them through it.
yeah. Like I think Insanity at least could play some more take the pressure off him. Now granted Insanity does have this weird thing and a lot of people are about to see it like when they watch him without the rose colored glasses and people are actually judging him in year 2. Like he does love to randomly int extremely hard.
Yep.
Like and it can get really annoying and we'll see how that works or not. Like so it'll be interesting. But I do think FlyQuest does have a sneaky good roster.
Here's my thing. They have the potential to go first if it clicks, but ninth if it implodes.
That's
Which is terrifying if you're a FlyQuest fan after last year and you watched it implode all the way down to the bottom. Like
yeah.
that's scary. But you know, the thing that FlyQuest has to do, like you have to come out and perform solid this entire year to quell fan worry that you're just gonna collapse again.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like that's your brand. Congrats. Like if FlyQuest fails this year, it is going to be impossible for them to escape that reputation. 2 years in League of
Mhm.
Legends of doing the exact same thing is an eternity.
Yeah. I
So
mean, it's gonna be tough because everybody's just fighting to try to beat Cloud9 right now. That's the ultimate goal is who
I
can
don't think
beat
anybody
them.
does. Like just
No.
there's no chance.
Yeah.
There's no
No.
way. Cloud9 is like we stopped talking about them a week and a half ago because they're just so freaking ahead of everybody else that there's no point. It's just like you're waiting for them to get on the
Yeah.
rift and just waiting to be like, okay, is there going to be a challenger to them this year? Like,
I mean, the challenger I feel like is gonna have to be like Kin Shopify.
Well, I'm still
Get
waiting
there?
to.
I don't think so.
I'm waiting to see Team Liquid as well.
Even yeah, and TL has to get a mid, but I just don't think Jan and Core can withstand Berserker for
I'm
5 games.
the thing that we also are forgetting though, and I gotta give them credit, but we're just I don't know why we're forgetting about
Oh
them.
yeah,
If
NRG.
NRG can continue to level up from where they are now,
Yeah, my bad. When you started saying I can't believe we forgot him, I was like, oh, we're more doofuses. Yeah, NRG, like, depending on who they get at sub, which talk about a shell shock. I don't know what Ignar is doing, bro.
dude,
But
that is a dumb move on his part. I'm sorry.
so whack. So whack. And low key, FBI, like, put a lot of people in the dirt. So, like, I was about to say, yeah, Jan and Core can't handle Berserker in a best of five, but can they even handle FBI in a best of five right now? And you know Berserker is gonna be just licking his lips wanting a shot at FBI again.
Yeah.
Because that
The only thing I will say that worries me though is that like I see a lot of conversation around NRG Huhi.
energy hooey. Is that bad? Or is that good?
I don't like it
I don't know if it's good.
because I've seen FBI Huhi and I think they've already hit their peak and their ceiling.
But at the same time, yeah, they have a lot of rapport. Hooey's still not bad at League.
But
That's for sure.
I want to
On
keep
a
giving Huhi chances. I really do. But like I don't know. We'll see. I
somebody just
I
asked, what do you
know.
think about? And to be honest, I kind of do like it though because their energy, Sven, who he no FBI,
No, I
FBI looked like the best ADC at the end of the year.
yeah, absolutely. I
Like
don't
you
think you get
have
rid of
to
him.
give him another shot.
Yeah, you do
And
not get rid of him.
low key, him and who he on that team, I think kind of ignites or gets the brain taken. That's what I'll say for contracts. When
Yep.
contracts gets in a rut, it's because he's not making plays. Who he doesn't allow you to not make plays for a game.
Yep.
Whether they're right or wrong is to be desired, but he does make plays.
Yeah.
And he could keep them from finding a rut. So
He could also run it down, as we've seen a few times. So like
yeah, but they do have a team that buys him, bro. Like
that's the thing. Is like
yeah.
that's the only logic in my mind where we escape that one team narrative is I'm worried that NRG got a good meta and peaked at the right time as C9 was collapsing. This C9 is not collapsing under any stretch of the imagination. And because of that, NRG has to step up to a level above what they are right now, which is great for the region. But I don't know if they have that. If they do, holy shit, are we going to be good as a region? And we're going to
Yeah.
curb stomp EU anytime we play them. But I'm worried that C9 just leveled up too much.
Yep. Like actually, you could be spitting facts, and by could you are. If energy can maintain that level of play, it's gonna go super hard for us because right now they're at the point where it's like we're hoping they get somebody who can keep them competitive with C9. But if they end up still being like top dogs and they remind us all, hey, we're the champs you keep forgetting about. Like you do have to beat us to disprove us.
Yep.
And we all got ahead of ourselves. Like could be a problem for other regions if C9 is our second seed. Like
Oh, yeah.
I mean days of old though we always thought that like when NA was, I mean, low key, it was our peak still at Worlds, was when we were bringing C9 in as the second seed, and they were running through to what semis?
Yep.
Because when they did the semis run, what seed were they?
Third.
Yeah, and I mean that is when we peak, is when our second and third seeds are at being pushed really really hard by our one seeds, but I don't know. I am kind of thinking like I
Yeah.
wonder what happens over there because I really want to know, but
I mean,
they're
that's
taking their
also
sweet time.
that's the wild stat from Lil Indian that I just realized as well. Blaver's made a final every single year that he's played the game.
Really?
and won one.
Hmm.
Did
I
he
mean,
did he start in
really good.
2019? No, Sven was still on C9 in 20, or no, was it Blabber in 2019? Who was 2019 Team Liquid? I know him and Sven were
Sven's
splitting
can
time.
split, right?
Yeah, they split time in 2018, but 2019, I think they were still splitting, if I'm not mistaken. And then 2020 was whenever Blabber officially got his start. Yeah. So 2020 they come in, he wins a final. 2021 they win a final with Jensen. 2022 this past year they win spring. Yeah, Cloud9 won spring. So like Blabber is an insane jungler. It's gonna win an LCS title again this year. Not a doubt in my mind.
Mhm. Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, he is. He is going to win another title probably,
yeah.
which is the
Scary.
unfortunate truth for all of us
Speaking
being anybody who isn't a C9 fan.
speaking of unfortunate truth, we are at 11, so we got two more things that we have to touch on quick in the next like 15, 20 minutes. 100
Okay.
Thieves. Full roster is now out. What's your
Kind of love it.
thoughts?
I kind of love it. Like,
Really?
I'm cool with you guys giving. Well, I'm not a fan of 100 Thieves, so maybe that's why I'm okay with it. But I'm just coming from I wanted to see as many young players as I can. And your roster is like the definition of just like, let's see how this goes. Now, the only thing I hate is, well, for me, is Ayla. I'm not a huge fan of Ayla
Yeah.
being in it. I don't really get why he's there, but who knows? Maybe he does end up playing well there. Um, you guys do have like some interesting stuff going on with Sniper and Quid, and the River Edition, I think just helps them both out a lot. Like
Agreed.
him being unleashed is gonna be, or unleashing them is gonna be really good, and he's very good at keeping his top and his mid going. Uh, hopefully Quid can step up because Quid, I'm not gonna say like unlike Rich, I don't know if he deserved a second shot, but he is getting one, and he's not the worst. He's really not the worst. Like you
I'm
could give him a second shot
I'm willing I'm very comfortable saying now that he deserves a second split. He comes
for
in
sure.
to a team that closer is just fucking absent all year.
Yep.
Is non-existent. So you have no jungler for the majority of the year. The
Mhm.
coaching staff that you come into is quite frankly not great. Uh, we didn't really do a great job of developing talent all that much. Nuke Duck took over, and then who do we pick up as our head coach later in the year? Or was it still Nuke Duck? Coco, please relax.
Didn't you get Kane, I think?
Oh yeah, we got Kane. Uh, Kane didn't really make a difference when he came
Mhm.
in. I'm curious to see if he's still going to be the head coach. Uh,
Didn't make a difference is a nice way to put it.
yeah. Um, I'm genuinely curious to see what happens with him, whether he steps up a level. But I do think one split is too rushed of a decision. If you're going to bring him in, you have to give him a full year. So I think by summer, if he doesn't do well, I'm 100% willing to take a chance on somebody else.
Yeah.
Uh, and as for Sniper specifically, I've had two different people from the NACL, in terms of like casters and people involved, message me saying, "Hey, I know you're hyped for this. I know you're excited, but I just want to make sure you're understanding and reasonable in your hype and expectations." And I made it clear to both of them, and I'll make it clear to everybody here. And I said it in my tweet, but it bears repeating. The goal for Sniper this year is just to establish a baseline. I'm assuming that Sniper is going to
Mhm.
be around forever in this league, that he will grow as time goes on. If he finishes the year as the eighth best top laner in the league, that's fine. I'm okay with that because he's coming in and should be right around eighth or ninth. I want him to be at that level by the end of the year, but holding his own in lane. The biggest thing that I want to see is by the end of year 1, I don't want to see the same mistakes that you're making at the beginning of the year. And I want to see him grow on that. I'm not expecting him to come in and just automatically be the best top laner in the league. That's incredibly unrealistic. That's unfair on him, and the pressure is not a good thing in that regard.
No.
But this year and this first split is about establishing a baseline and then improving. Now, next year, when he better still be our top laner, that's whenever you start saying, okay, you need to start, like, this is now your second year. Let's start climbing. Let's start, working on the things that you need to work on and give it time.
Yeah.
Not everybody is just they come in and we're going to be great. Blabber, for example, split time with Sven's Garen on the LCS stage for, 2 years before getting his full start? This kid's he just turned 17 and is going in. If anybody comes in with the expectation that he's going to smash, that's on you. I'm one of the most diehard 100 Thieves fans there is out there. I'm incredibly hyped, but I'm hyped because I'm hyped to see his development. Not because I'm expecting him to win lanes, to smash everybody right away. That's not going to happen. So, you just hold out. Just know that this guy has a ton of potential. Cloud9 tried to get him before they legally could for a reason. Be happy that he chose to stay with our org.
Yeah, I mean, that's facts, because he was willing to stay with an org that historically has not been too good to rookie tops as well. And we'll see how it goes. I mean, so far, nothing has come of the very hyped and had very good showings 100 Thieves Academy. And nothing has really come of it in really anywhere. Have any of your players worked out from Academy?
Not yet, no.
Yeah, even Luger and Poom was probably the closest to working out on CLG, but they slowly started to sputter. And we'll see. I mean, it's definitely, he is the most hyped rookie we've had in a while.
I'm willing to say ever.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, trying to
think about it from the lens of,
as a straight rookie,
Yeah, he's the most hyped player that we will have seen that literally has almost no experience playing the game at a professional level.
Danny wasn't really hyped up, was he, when he was coming out?
No, people were...
that was more as he played.
Yeah, people were like, who's this kid? Like, we know he's decent, but Sniper, since he was 13, had hype. Same with Jojo Pune. Jojo Pune, everybody was
Jojo was hyped.
Everybody's like, okay, people were excited when he came on EG, and yes, he won his first split, which is great, but he was also slotting into a much different roster than Sniper slotting into, to be very clear. But Jojo Pune wasn't a kid that we were tracking since he was 13. That's the difference here. We're talking about a prodigal talent. We know him because his brother was already in the league. He was already competing with his brother at a very young age, and even his younger brother below there is just as good, where it's there's this expectation of, okay, we know where you can get to. We saw Viper playing on top teams in the LCS, or good teams in the LCS. We know where you can be. Take the lessons from your brother, learn upon them, and get better. And become this guy, quite frankly, the savior that North America, to a certain extent, has needed.
I mean, yeah, you really gave him a sell there. It's just, can you guys put, even if he gets to that level, my only question is, and this is not to be too hateful to the 100 Thieves org,
understandable,
will they ever put a roster around him that does for him what he needs? Low key, you guys you're not bad people like the EG org is. You're just bad at roster building around your prodigal talent like they did to JoJo towards the end. But you've kind of just done that the whole time with your rookies.
Yeah. And
that sounds harsh, but
it's completely fair. And I said it in the video that I made on it, but if you're Jungle Juice, this year is your job. If we flounder this year, if we show no improvement, again, I'm not expecting us to win, but I am expecting us to get better as the year goes on and see progression from our players. If we do not see that, you're you are losing your job. You're the first person to go because you've been the consistent factor in all of this and all the turnover.
Yep.
So it's we'll see. We will see as time
And
goes on.
he's also a very like, if you guys do succeed, he's gonna get a lot of love. A
Oh
lot of
yeah.
love. Like,
Oh yeah. You have to fight to
where he's
keep him.
gonna deserve it.
And that's the thing is like if I'm 100 Thieves, like, and I know they know this internally. It's like, yeah, you're going break even this year, but you understand if Sniper is going to be your future, you need to build a brand around him so that you can pay him when the
Mhm.
time comes. Because Cloud9 and TL will be throwing the bag at him at some point. And you have to be ready to counteract that and like you
Yeah.
basically you need to do what Faker's done for them without taking your org bankrupt. You need to
Mhm.
develop content, different revenue streams, and everything else so that you can go above league minimums.
Yeah.
You have to, otherwise you will
'Cause
lose him. So like there is pressure all over this org right now to put yourself in
'cause
a situation to grow.
right now the two rosters, or the orgs that usually push each other, aren't here anymore, right? So TSM like would had a mid who was unattainable, so people started trying to get unattainable mids to beat him. And then, which worked out great for NA, because that's when we got Jensen in, and JoJo came towards the end of that all. But you need people pushing to get those mid laners who have insane talent, trying to beat one guy. And right now, I don't see a ton of teams that are really going to push to get a mid laner to match what Cloud9 has right now. Like,
No.
you got to get guys in every role to match what Cloud9 has, which granted, we forgot about them, and if NRG is still around. Like, if NRG can keep their form, they're gonna be really good still. And but also, NRG like was a late bloomer
Yep.
in some ways. Like NRG wasn't popping off the whole year. They weren't uh what is it? They weren't like sitting there just dominating everybody, pushing the league, to new
Yeah.
levels. Like that was kind of random. And then it just kept going at Worlds, which is a good thing. It's never a bad thing to be able to figure things out and keep going. But if NRG can do it again is yet to be seen, and I know we're all doubting them. Like,
Yeah.
or at least we're all not holding our breath. Like, is it Blabber JoJo better than Khan
Yes.
Pala? Yeah. I
Yes.
mean, I think that's just,
Immediately yes.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, just on paper, yeah. Like, this isn't, I'll put it this way, NRG is not Georgia, right? They're not back-to-back champs that we all think is still formidable. Like, they are NRG.
Yep.
They are just what they are, and Andy Miller was awesome, but he also like made it very clear that he wasn't going to be blowing the bank to keep the roster together, and he wants to have financial success. And so that kind of and Ignar left. So now you're wondering like, can they get Huhi? And that makes you wonder, how are they going to keep that massive coaching staff they had that got them the success they had? Who knows? And also, Andy Miller sounded surprised, just as surprised as we did that they went on
Yeah.
their run. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Like that. And no, World's Forum doesn't change my mind on NRG. It means that I still put NRG going into this season at the same level as they were before.
yeah,
I just put Cloud9 so much further above because they shored up their two weaknesses. Vulcan is
yeah,
undoubtedly better than Sven at support, despite the down year last year. And there's no denying that Jojo Pune is the best mid laner in the LCS.
yeah.
He was stuck on a team that he was trying to carry the weight of and just couldn't. And now that pressure's off his back. So he can just
I
pop
mean, for real
off.
though,
So,
like, I don't. There's no other way you can feel about it. Like, he just the C9 made a super team. Like, that is a super team.
yep.
When you sit there and you go into like LCS Manager 2024 and you play the game, this is what you would try to build.
Yep.
Like,
Ugh.
I don't know.
It's gross.
And
Final question on LCS. Oh, good. And then I'll ask.
and I'm not saying this because of that YouTube comment, by the way. I'm not just sucking up because last week I talked trash about him. I'll be talking plenty of trash as well about Cloud9 when this blows up in their face. But for now, I'm just admiring the work of art that happens while I have no team at all.
Yep.
and
Yep.
and
I
you
agree.
better believe it when TSM builds a 17th place LPL team. I'm gonna be super excited for when we meet you guys at MSI.
Yeah. We'll see. Honest question though, where do you think 100 Thieves ends summer split?
Some
Not even spring,
uh
summer.
summer. Well, probably I'm gonna go like sixth because 8 teams will still make playoffs this summer, I
Yeah.
assume, which is stupid. Like whatever, but man, can I go sixth? Looking at this, if you got rid of Ayla, it'd be so much easier
To shoot it
go
up the
higher than
ranking.
that.
Yeah.
But I think sixth is fair. Probably leaning down. Like if I'm gonna
Yeah.
say six, going down.
Yeah. I think our range could literally be anywhere from 10th. No, I don't think we can be 10th with River on the team. I just don't.
No,
I have faith with Sniper, with River, and with Masu. Masu is going to be fucking great in years to come.
Meech.
Or Meech, sorry.
Okay.
Not Masu, Meech. I think Meech, Sniper, and River are a great core three. The other two time will tell. I think our floor is 9th. I don't think we possibly get lower than 9th.
Mm-hmm.
I think our peak could be 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Other than I'm not trying, I don't see us getting to a level where we are above FlyQuest, Cloud9, or NRG. But I could see a world where if Quid actually shows up and if Ayla is the shot caller that he's rumored to be, that people really are looking forward to seeing from him, that he just didn't get the show because he couldn't effectively communicate with Prince and FlyQuest, and he couldn't effectively talk to Unforgiven and EG and Jojo Puma shot calling there. Like, if it works out, then I would say 4th. But the big thing for me with the development roster is, again, just having pieces that build over time. We know our weak points, and that's fine, and we can upgrade them as time goes on. That's the whole point of a roster like this. But just develop, and if we can finish 5th, 6th, I think I'm happy.
Yeah, and I do think, like, I honestly do feel that Quid had a lot of good plays last year. He was just on a very uninspired team, I think. His Azir was actually pretty fun to watch from my perspective, but he just was on a really bad team, and that kind of hurt him. And teammates can take you down, and if Sniper doesn't live up to his hype year one, which could happen, and that's okay. Like, it could make things really hard for him and River. Really hard, especially with Ayla bot. If Ayla still sucks, if he's not sucking, then you guys have a pretty good shot.
Yeah.
But
we
so
could
far,
we could be that underdog team that nobody thinks about but comes out of nowhere.
you guys are a really good job right now. 9 to 5 ranking, somewhere in there.
That's a great phrasing. Holy shit.
So we'll see how it works. Like,
look, I get a full team of rookies has never worked, but it never works until it does.
I mean, yeah.
There's always got to be an exception to the rule. That's all I got to say.
I do enjoy your team, though. Like,
I think our team's just going to be fun to watch.
Yeah. You're definitely, you're a good time. It's just about what happens with all of this. I mean, Meech is like Meech is super fun, so nobody's really gonna be upset about it. But also Meech, like if you look at his I went to look at his full like
His history.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has been tossed around quite a bit lately. So because of obviously the way CL is right now.
Yeah.
And he's been jumping around a lot on different rosters. So maybe this is where he really like becomes a dog. You know what I mean?
I mean, look,
Like
if you give Dokla credit for climbing up and continuously pushing himself to get better and eventually
yeah.
winning a title in NRG, you have to give that same level of benefit of the doubt there.
hmm
But any final words on LCS before we get into Worlds for 10 more minutes?
Just hey, Shopify is kind of building a roster. I think it's kind of sneaky good too.
We'll see. I need
It's
to see
all
how they round it out, and we'll go from there.
I don't
Because
really get the two jungler thing, but we can
no,
let that be for another day.
yeah,
We have a whole
that's
off season.
Worlds Finals. I called it 2-for-2. Thank you very much.
He did.
What do
I
you
was
have to What do
sad.
you have to say for yourself, Mister
I mean,
Bronze
I
Road?
wanted to see the I wanted to see the Golden Road. Can you blame me?
Yeah, because I
Like
wanted that title to stay with EU, and it did. G2 is still the best team that is ever, or the closest team to the Golden
what?
Road.
JDG just got as close as them.
Nope.
Oh, they were one. They didn't make finals.
Yeah.
That's why they weren't as close to you. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as that. They were 3 games away.
No, whatever. I get what you're saying.
JDG was
I'm
5.
not. Yeah, I'm not. I get what you mean. I just really enjoyed what JDG did this year, and I saw that Ruler is still happy. He posted that this is like one of the most fun years he's had playing League, and he loves this team. So
I'm glad he likes losing. That's great.
real, yeah, okay. They won 3 titles, bro. You're so annoying. Winning the hardest league in the world twice.
Doesn't mean
And
shit if you can't take it at the end of the year.
oh my
Doesn't
gosh,
mean a
bro.
thing at
You're
all.
so stupid.
Congrats. The Warriors had the best regular season record of all time. And look where that got them. Fucking nowhere.
All right, Mister.
Toilet
We
paper
should
for
start
LeBron
caring
James as
about
he
LCS
cries a title to
championships
Cleveland.
more. We should really start weighting them more. We should really pump up that winning the LCS means something, but winning the LPL means nothing.
Nope. Not whenever you're the difference is our expectation is not to go to Worlds Finals. Their expectation is to fucking win it all. So winning the LPL is irrelevant. They just need to get to Worlds, and that's all that matters for them.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
I can't help it. They choked when it mattered. Kanavi decided to, turn the brain off.
I thought you were gonna say something like sweet about it, like be like, because you already won. There's no reason for you to keep dogging on them. They had a great team.
I'm dogging on it because when Weibo fucking wins this all and puts up, makes everybody in that stadium cry, it's gonna be fucking hilarious.
You know what? When I was at my lowest in the middle of nowhere, Texas, hating life, JDG gave me something. I'll always have that.
And I will admit, I think they're the best roster on paper that has ever played the game over the course of a year.
I mean, yeah, now T1 just on a super run right now.
The meta shifted to T1's favor. The sad thing is, this was like a slow motion car crash. All happening. Like we saw it coming. The second it hit quarterfinals and you saw it swapping over to Enchanter meta, everybody was just like, oh no. Oh no, this is T1's wheelhouse. The T1 BLG series, whenever T1 stomped them, is like, shit, they're actually gonna do this, aren't they? And then they got on the same side of the bracket. And then T1 arguably looks better in their quarterfinal best of 5 series. And it's like, oh no. And then you get here and it's just like it happened exactly as you thought it would, and it just
I think the only part that sucks the most about this is the annoying. I hate all these narrative people so much, and they just you can tell they're just sitting in the corner beating off while fourth seed in T1 keep winning, and they all just keep calling. For some reason, we've decided that Faker isn't the Demon King anymore, and he's a god. So everyone wants to keep going. Every time T1's about to win, they go, "What is a god to a non-believer?" When JDG lost, they were so amped and they screamed it so loud, and I was like, "Okay, all right."
well,
It
no,
all just
that
keeps
was the
going.
quarterfinal series. The
Oh
semifinal
yeah, you're right.
was a perfect
And
call by Dracos of it's T1 versus the LPL, and they like those odds. That was mwah,
no,
like
that one was great.
that
There
was
was something
so
they said
clean.
about God stopping the Golden Road or something,
Uh,
and
yeah, that was the quarterfinal call where they were like, I think it was Azale or Kobe or somebody said like they're praying to they're praying to God, but God's on the other team, or they're looking for
yes,
God and
that's what
God
it
is on the other
was.
team.
God is
It's
on the
like,
other team.
oh my god, that was a little bit premature. I think that like had you said that in finals, that would have fucking slapped. Medic said it. Yes, thank you. I will say Medic is always a little bit more hyperbolous with his statements, so that makes
No, it
sense.
was top-notch call. I'm just a hater
I know you
because
are, but like
they went down.
I oh I loved every bit of that call against JDG. It was just perfect. And I don't know how the fuck Faker went from not being able to move his wrist like 4 months ago
Mhm.
to undisputed the best mid laner at the tournament. I would argue probably the best
Yeah.
player at the tournament right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's just they're playing super good, and it really is like they got hot at the right time. Things looked bleak at the right time, so they had to get hungry, and they picked it up. And I mean, it's Faker. He's always been a pretty top dog. Like it's been a while since he's won, so you know he's hungry. Like, dude, I've been in. He hasn't won Worlds Finals since I joined the military, which is kind of insane. I've been in the military for 8 years.
I've never seen Faker win a title.
Really?
Yeah, I've never once in my life
Dang.
seen Faker win a title.
Like, it's been a while. Well, he might have like won his last one while I was leaving or something, but yeah, 2016, so long,
2016,
dude.
to put this into
7, yeah, my bad.
context,
I've been
I
sort of
I
learning them.
saw the like I saw Zed perform a little bit and kind of like tuned out because at the time I was like dieharding. I think that was Black Ops 3 at the time. And I like tuned back. I was like, oh, okay. You know, that Faker guy won. But like that's not the same as like actually like 2017 I watched.
Yeah,
And no, I since I started like actually watching League of Legends, I've never seen Faker win a Worlds.
I mean, it's been a long time, and it's kind of like one of those. Uh, Not that he isn't the GOAT. He's the GOAT of League. Like 3 Worlds titles is a lot, and if he wins a fourth, he's still just the GOAT, I guess. But and he's just more dominant. But it's like he hasn't won in so long for a fan like me that it's like at this point, like listening to all this Faker stuff is just like I get it. We're always gonna listen to him because he's so good. But it's like when there's the Brady's in the world and stuff like
The
that, I'm
Tiger
like,
Wood, it's
man,
literally the Tiger Woods story.
true. It's like what could have been. Because at some point there'll probably, who knows if there'll ever be another Faker. I'm sure there will be some guy who wins 5 or something, or 6 or 7. But what he's done is just like insane. Like, and he's been around forever, but it's also like kind of weird because I've watched him lose a lot lately and starting to get in that LeBron James territory of like, because there was an MJ, LeBron didn't get to usurp the GOAT title completely because of the fact that he just had such a bad finals record.
Yep.
But for Faker, that doesn't happen because he is the first GOAT
Yeah.
of League. So at this point, you're just kind of hoping he can fix the finals record so that when the next guy comes, he doesn't auto take it from Faker.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
but
Do you?
what he's done and being good this long is insane. Like,
It is.
the fact that this man won 3 before 2016 and is still around in Worlds Finals, like trying to get one more, and that just makes it feel so much more significant. Like the fact he's still trying.
Yep.
And he wants it. He just can't get over it. And maybe that goes to your like what is it? Creep, your argument.
The power creep.
Yeah, the power creep. I mean, Faker just can't seem to beat it. No matter what happens, he can't beat the power creep.
Well,
Everybody just gets a little bit better.
You know he's never beaten Weibo's mid laner in a best of 5 international series.
Yeah, but the LPL's never beaten him as a whole in a best of 5 at Worlds.
That's fair. I mean,
but Weibo is hot. They are super hot.
Jeffrey might be correct, but I swear to God, I saw on various different social media sites that Faker's never beat him at an international series best of 5. 2016 RNG course. Oh, then whoever said that was wrong on social media.
Oh.
In that case, the one thing that you had going against Faker is the Shy. That would be an incredible story. I will say, like, that's my lane to watch. That is 100% my lane to watch this tournament is top lane. Because if you remember what happened in finals last year, it was entirely on Zeus. Owner didn't play great either, to be fair. But Zeus collapsed relative to what Kingham was able to do. And there's a clear world where you're looking at the Shy and it's like, if the Shy takes over and you start to see Zeus collapse again, oh, man. Oh, that would be bad.
And it's also this whole, it's the entirety of the Weibo, like, narratives that you could create if you wanted to, which I'm shocked you don't know the one about Xiaohu. He's at the same amount of years in his career as Deft was last year.
Oh, Jesus.
And he's never won a Worlds.
Oh, Jesus. That's
not
good.
He's technically on his, like, redemption arc. And as much as the meta has shifted to T1, it also did shift to Weibo.
To Weibo.
Like, really hard. And they're in their comfort zone, obviously, because they're top 2 teams at the end of the whole tourney. But he's like, there is a moment where it's like, man, this Weibo team, very good.
Yeah.
Very well could ruin it. And the trials of finals for T1.
That's the thing that
surreal.
I wanted to just double down on for people is like, we spoke on this last year. I remember having this exact same conversation about DRX where it's like, when you get to finals and you like, it's one thing to go through these media days, and luckily T1 now has been there with this exact roster last year, so you have more to pull on than previously. But the flip side of the coin goes to Weibo. When you go through the opening ceremony and the spectacle and the trophy reveal and everything that surrounds it, and quite frankly, the crowds that they've played in front of, Weibo has not played in front of this crowd yet. T1 filled out the stadium for their day, sure, but LCK fans are fucking terrible for showing up for anybody else. Like, the worst crowds, I'm sorry, in the world. Just is what it is. Like, other than when T1 is playing.
Yep.
When you get to that moment and everybody's there, you can either elevate to a level beyond or you can collapse. T1 has historically collapsed. I would say this year they are in a better position to not, but it's notably in their hometown, which adds a level of pressure that didn't even exist last year. The pressure of the moment, the pressure of finals can get to you in various different ways. And to anybody that's going to say this is an easy 3-0 to T1, I think you're just simply wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's a 3-1 personally for T1. That's my prediction on it, but it would not surprise me at all if this goes to 5 games and Weibo takes it. And Weibo steps up in the moment, because there's just it's a whole other level that you cannot emulate anywhere else in the world.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm interested in is if Weibo like thrives off of the hate they're about to get, because that place is about to be sold out for T1. But the real question is like, does Weibo just get in there and be like, yeah, I kind of like this, like this whole because they're the underdog, so being like being booed is essentially what they're probably used to at this point, and it just locks you in sometimes when the whole place doesn't want you to win. And I'm sure they feel that way. They feel like, oh yeah, we're about to go in here and mess up people's day. Like that's what I want to do. And I can see a world where they do it. I mean, they're in a very they're in a very niche spot right now. And what they're about to do or what they could do could be super funny.
Yep.
Like super funny. That place is going to be so quiet if they pull this off. And the Shy is playing insane. Like Xiaohu is, I mean, still a really good mid laner. He's been really good for a long time.
Yep.
And their bottom lane is playing way better than they were most of the journey. So, well, way better than they were in the LPL. And it kind of makes you wonder, like, ooh, this could be the one. This could be the one time they like just get a dream run.
Maybe. What's your final series prediction?
I don't know, because I've been cursing everything I want to see. So at this point, I'm gonna say 3-0 ST1. Every team I've picked has lost so far, so I'm hoping by picking T1. Keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer.
That Jesus. To everybody that tuned in to this episode, thank you so much. We've been on for 2 hours talking. It's amazing how quickly time can fly on these.
Yeah.
We spent like the first hour not even talking about esports.
Yeah.
Be sure to follow Paul on Twitter at 23tarheels50. Be sure to follow myself at DShinock. We just passed 3,000 followers on Twitter, which is kind of nuts. Hoping to possibly hit, I think 2,000 subscribers on YouTube is going to be too unrealistic by the end of the year. But hoping to at least hit 16 or 1,700, I think would be fun. And then on Twitch, we're on the road to 500. So thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next episode. This will be available on Spotify and everywhere else that you get. Or actually, no, just Spotify, YouTube, and Twitch. Why am I lying? And yeah, didn't even mention TikTok, but you know, I'm going to keep doing my TikTok bullshit. Any final words, Paul?
Just that hopefully the TSM news finishes quick, and I'm getting closer to a team. I'm getting closer.
We will see who he picks in the next few weeks. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you all for tuning in. W Paul in the chat for being married. Shout out to the married gang. That ball and chain life, we wear it well. We'll catch you all in the next episode. Adios, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.